back today for if anyone wants to know a bit more about Amari and the Night Brothers, other than Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. I'm going to read you a bit more inside the book. So, I'm not going to tell you where it is, just I'm going to find interesting parts and read you. So, today it's part 1. I turned to Elsie. Freakish organization skills? I know someone with that ability. If she was carrying a huge stack of papers and tripped, they'd all land exactly like she had them before. Elsie grimaces. She'll probably end up in the Department of Supernatural Light, listens and records filling papers. The crowd claps and Aspen is led off stage. Why would anyone want to be in a boring department like that? I ask. Well, some people do prefer easier, less dangerous departments, says Elsie. But it's usually it's one of two reasons. Either it's all you qualify for, or you make it to age 18 without passing any tryouts. And the bureau just sends you wherever they need people. Non-competitive departments like Supernatural listens and license and records don't even have a tryout. My name still hasn't been called by the time all the plastic badges have been handed out. Uneasy, I glance over and catch Statue Boy watching me from the corner of his eye. He quickly looks away and then back to me. He says, I wasn't staring. Didn't say you were. Oh, well, good then. He turns his attention back to the stage. What's his problem? Even with my growling knot of dread, things start to get more exciting by the time the bronze badges finally roll around. Not only does the crystal ball glow brighter when touched, but rare abilities start popping up. A grinning kid named Billy Fogo's knack for being in the right place at the right time becomes unnatural luck. While he's on stage, he gets a phone call stating he'll be inheriting his great-aunt's golden fleece collection. Jonathan Zing's talent is hiding, and once it's enchanted, he happily demonstrates by turning his body into clear glass. He announces to everyone he's aiming for the Department of Spies and Secrets. Elsie elbows me and says, Betcha he doesn't know that he'll have to get his memory erased every time he leaves the department. A dreamy-eyed girl named Julia Farsight's supernatural ability makes her a medium, a result she seems more than surprised to receive. Elsie bursts out laughing when I ask if it's better than being a small. I don't realize my mistake until Elsie says that she'll probably choose the Department of the Dead. Elsie is one of only 13 kids to receive a silver badge, meaning I've either got a gold badge or the scary Moonstone badge. Chief Crow puts her arm around Elsie on stage and speaks briefly about the diversity benefits of having members who aren't fully human. She herself is half Adelaide. Elsie doesn't get a huge reaction from the crowd, so I make sure to stand up and holler, Go Elsie! Statue Boy frowns as I sit back down. Not that I care. Badge in hand, Elsie moves nervously toward the crystal ball. She places her free hand against the crystal. It glows bright white, shimmering like a giant 100-watt bulb. Talent enchanted to supernatural ability. Inventiveness to mastermind inventor. Elsie beams. Her talent doesn't surprise me one bit, but then having created that sneak candle in her own radio from spare parts, I'd have thought she was a mastermind inventor already. It's no wonder the Bureau has such amazing technology. They turn smart people into geniuses. I tried again to think of something I'm really good at. Falling asleep on the sofa after school? I doubt the Bureau would have much use for that. And as Elsie returns to her seat, Chief Crow steps back to her podium. Only Only once every few years do we get the honor of presenting an elite badge, and yet this year we shall present 3. Dylan and Laura Van Helsing, please come up and accept your gold badges. Van Helsing? Why does that name sound so familiar? Then it hits me. My brother's partner. I nudge Elsie. Are those two related to Maria Van Helsing? She nods. Maria is the Van Helsing's twins' older sister. Their mom and dad are here too. The Van Helsings are one of the most important families in the supernatural world. Is that why Satchel Boy was staring? My whole body goes stiff as another realization comes. If they've got gold badges, that moonstone badge really does belong to me. So much for blending in. Lara and Dylan both smile and wave toward the flashing cameras as they make their way to the stage. It's easy to see they're used to this kind of attention. Loud applause and cheers ring out in the auditorium. Lara's polite grin bursts into a big, toothy smile as she jogs up the few steps to the stage where Chief Crow swallows her in a big hug. Dylan does a better job controlling his emotions and gives the Chief a firm handshake. The whole auditorium hears the Chief tell them how proud she is. All 3 pose for a few more pictures and then both Van Helsings are handed their badges. Dylan moves to the crystal ball first. His cool smile is gone. In fact, he looks scared to death. Guess I'm not the only one questioning what kind of supernatural ability they'll have. I lean forward in my chair, curious. Dylan shakes out his hands and touches the crystal ball with just the tip of his fingers. The instant he does, blinding light pours out of the crystal ball, so bright I have to cover my eyes. Finally, his results show on screen. Talent enchanted to supernatural ability. Marksmanship to physics defying rim. Dylan looks happy as I've ever seen anyone in my entire life. When his sister steps to the crystal ball, her talent starts off as fitness and becomes superhuman athleticism. Lara decides to test out her supernatural ability, doing a long run of impossible jumps and flips across the stage. It looks like the special effects from a superhero movie. The crowd goes nuts. After a few bows, Lara practically skips off the stage, her smirking brother right behind her. The lights dim further as Chief Crow returns to the podium. And now for a very special presentation. The reason I accept that we have so many additional spectators this year. Amari Peters, please accompany me on stage. Every eye in the auditorium watches me. Cameras flash like crazy. I'm not used to being the center of attention, not for something good anyway. The walk to the stage seems endless. My hands shake as I climb the stairs. My flushed face takes up the giant screen once I step on stage. Chief Crow smiles warmly and puts her arm around my shoulder. It's very rare indeed that a moonstone badge is awarded. Rarer still to have 2 in the same family. There have been only 13 in the whole history of the Baru, and Amari here makes it the second Peters to receive the honor. The chief reaches into her suit jacket and pulls out a tiny wooden case. I present to you the 14th moonstone ever awarded. She tilts it open and I peek inside. The round badge looks a lot like a medal without the ribbon. It's the size of my palm and twinkles in its case like a tiny star. It's the most beautiful, most wonderful thing I've ever owned. It's also the badge my perfect brother received, and all those accomplished Baru members before him. I don't deserve it. Still, I take the case and everyone claps. Even with my doubts, I smile at the attention. It doesn't feel real, like it's happening to someone else. I spot Elsie bouncing in her seat in the front row. Then I spot the twins, both sitting stiffly, arms crossed. Jealous much? Now it's my turn to touch the crystal ball. I step past Chief Crow and frown. I'm suddenly nervous at the prospect of revealing something about myself in front of all these people. What if my supernatural ability turns out to be something disappointing like superhuman knitting? I was really good at it when I was little. The truth is, I don't know myself well enough to guess what it might choose. but everyone's waiting. Reluctantly, I place my hand on the crystal ball, and nothing happens, not even the faintest glimmer of light. There's a collective gasp from the crowd. Cameras begin to flash again. I look to Chief Crow, but she seems as confused as I am. And then something does happen. A plume of black smoke appears, swirling and filling the ball completely. A crack reaches across the surface. I yank my hand away. Take a few steps backward. So does Chief Crow. The screen flickers behind us. Talent enchanted to supernatural ability. Dormant magic to active magician. Illegal. The auditorium erupts.